Hey, this is Old Gaming Guru. Happy Saturday. Alright, so as I've said before, I've got very little time to do videos right now because of work. But hey, here is today's video. It is on what I think is probably the best melee build in last Epoch. And it is a Void Knight, obviously. Those little circles going around me there, and they self-cast when I move. So does my Symbols of Hope. So basically I'm running the Void Knight build, and we've gone and switched from I was using before Warpath. Yeah. Went out and watched a little music last night, so there we go. Warpath. I've switched to Rive. Rive? Okay, Warpath on this same character was doing 22,000 per second. Look at Rive. It's just freaking nuts. No mana cost, no mana problems. So I can now take off my mana gear. It is just a brute. You can go one of two ways. You can go Clothos if you get some good rolls, or you can go with just a regular two-handed blade, or you can also do what I've done, which is dual wield, which means I'm going to take more damage. But I got lucky with a couple rolls here. I got this axe and this sword. So that's going to actually give me more critical chance, and it's also going to give me more crit strike multiplier. Okay, so that's what gives me the insane amount of damage. I could probably tweak this a little further, but let me just show you how the build plays out. Rive versus Warpath. This kills so much faster. It's not quite as fluid, but it kills so much faster. It's absolutely nuts. You've got great defenses. You've got also the orbs circling around you, basically peeling off void resistance. So this guy is just a brute. So let's go ahead and jump into an empowered and run a quick instance for you. Other than that, in terms of play, because you kill so much faster, you finish instances so much faster, it just is a lot more fluid build. And boss damage on this guy is absolutely nuts. I have not tried Aberoth with him yet. I'm going to get him to 100 and then go hit Aberoth. But he's just amazing in terms of damage output. As soon as I'm in, I'll show you. But I think you'll really, really like the playstyle. So instead of using lunge, I'm using healing hands to move, which then heals me, buffs me, and then also to debuffs my enemies. Okay, so at least I can take a hit. We're against some of my least favorite minions here. There's those guys that drop fireballs. Okay, see, a little slower playstyle. You see, mana is not going down to 0, and I'm having to count on Void Essence to basically get my mana back up. But you can just see here, this is just nuts how fast this guy drops everything on the screen. Alright, so let's just go ahead, and the playstyle is just hold your right mouse button down. When you got a dangerous enemy from afar, use space or healing hands, and that'll get you to your enemies. There we go, a little mini boss just wiped out. I mean, this guy is just really amazing. He also too generates orbs like crazy, as you can see here. Sometimes you'll see me with as many as 7 orbs. The orbs only do 22,000 each. Remember, that was the same amount of DPS I was getting from my Warpath before, but you know what? It will wipe out most of the trash. I got my boss. Boom, he's already done. Okay, it was that easy. Don't think you need to see anymore. It's pretty simple. You use Q, casts automatically when you move. And I forgot, anomaly. You need to have that on, so you need to turn your Noom lock on. Hold the number 4 down if it's in that position. Then release Noom lock and it'll cast automatically, but anomaly gives you a great set of buffs. And look at that, 305,000 damage. 22 for my Devouring Orb. 28,000 for my Healing Hands attack. I've turned it into an attack. You really just don't even have to worry about trash other than this crappy Ox Brooks here that if you stand still, guess what? You're dead. So I'm just right now in the position where I'm trying to get my best bennies from my map completions. But this guy makes mincemeat of just about anything he runs into. Just gotta pay attention to what you're doing at all times. You know, a lot of people complain about the enemies you fight in last Epoch. I don't really have a problem so much with it. I've played the game since its inception. I think it does a pretty good job of keeping you entertained, and you can definitely scale the hardness just like you can PoE as high as you want. Let's go see if we got anything out of that. We got some runes. No good care. Alright, so I've completed all I need to for stability. Let's go back. Let me explain what makes this build work. Alright. This is a crit build at its base, okay? You're going to have 5 skills: Healing Hands, Symbols of Hope, which is auto-cast, Devouring Orb, as long as you're moving, it auto-casts, and Anomaly. Anomaly should be put on auto-cast using the Noom lock key. Alright, so before what we had was Warpath and Erasing Strike, and those two were just not getting the job done. I tried Aberoth with it and did not kill him. So this is just a much better build, and I think has a much better chance to kill Aberoth. I need tons more health. Okay, so right now I really need to be about 3,500, and I'm working on that, trying to find gear that'll help me boost up my health a bunch. All right, because you want to be able to survive a one-shot, and you know, even with crit avoidance, I've actually got reduced crit damage at, and this is a good time to bring this up on my defenses. I've got my endurance up, I've got a decent threshold, I should have 1,000, and my reduced bonus damage from crits is good. Okay, so I also take less damage from enemies, and so I've got some pretty good defenses here in that, including armor, which really needs to be a little bit higher, but right now 60% would probably be the minimum. My block chance is nothing, and you can see, of course, I've got all my resistances capped. Okay, so I don't need anything out of this garbage. And alright, so I've shown you my character sheet, my defense skills. Okay, so let's talk about my skills really quick, then I'll talk about my tree. Alright, so we go to Rive. Really simple here with Rive. You just want to go max out these 2 lines. Okay? Temporal Warrior first. You want to get over to void-based damage. Okay? On this side is basically, this gives you a culling strike. So that's really good to have. But if you just basically go right down these 2 lines, you're going to get all the damage you need. Alright, so here on Anomaly, one of your key buffs, you're going to this side and in this area only. Alright, you want to pick up the Leech. This will help you tremendously survive bosses. Cooldown and recovery speed, I wish I had more points to put into it. My time bubble, I really need to put an extra point in there, so if I find an anomaly gear that gives me plus to anomaly, I'm going to use it. And then critical strike chance I don't need, because if you look at my character sheet, look where I'm at right now in terms of crit. Melee crit, 109. I could use some more critical strike multiplier to really make this guy sing, but right now that's holding on. So let's go back to our skills. Anomaly, you're getting your Leech, you're picking up bubble cast on self. That's a must. Grab that early. And then just pick up your leech here. I could maybe sacrifice some leech and put it into my other areas, but right now it's working well for me. Okay, Symbols of Hope. We're going to go over and convert it to void damage first. Okay, and then we want it to auto cast. It does it automatically. So the next things we're going to grab is the 2 extra symbols, because that's going to give you 25% extra damage for every symbol you have up, which means with 5 symbols, you're going to have 125% extra damage. Okay, critical, get extra points into Devouring Orb, and you want it to have cast Void Essences. Okay, you also want it to reduce and shred. Okay, so slow and shred enemy void resistance. Helps you a lot with bosses, especially in later stages. Okay, I put in there, it's casting your abysmal orbs. Okay, so that then makes this a hunter-seeker while I'm running around the map, just killing trash mobs. Alright, so now we have it orbit us. When we're moving, it will cast automatically, so grab that early. Okay, so we want it to use very little mana, so Sightless Star is important. Now it does void damage on everything it hits. Okay, so you want to just grab these and grab that. And then you want it to cast a little bit faster, so this is going to create a lot more orbs for you. This could use an additional point, but I don't have the gear for it right now. Finally, Healing Hands, our movement skill. Alright, so we're going to go over, and we want to be immune. Okay, and so you want to pick up these 2 first. You're going to then cast Healing Hands when you use a melee attack, so it's constantly healing you. This is really, really critical. So these are the ones you want to grab first. You want to go down, get Area of Effect and lower mana costs. Seraph Blade, so it's now a movement skill with a big target area. Okay, and these 2 right here. Okay, you just want to go ahead and take this, and it's also going to get you less necrotic damage. So there's your skills. Let's look at our tree. The basic cookie cutter start to Void Knight. And I could take this out. Alright. Gives me 6% less damage or 6% chance to block, but without effectiveness, it's not any good. I can pull that one, and this allows me to dual wield. Okay? So, change the tree, I might take out his Stalwart. Alright, so in Void Knight, then we're going to go ahead and basically pick up Health Leech. We're going to get these to where they give you the bonuses. As you can see, these are nice hefty bonuses. Crit multiplier per point spent in Void Knight. Absolutely critical. So that can get me as high as 75% additional critical strike damage. You want to get Void Blades. You want to get a couple points here and then pick up Void Blades until the end. Penetration, obviously important. You also get your 5-point bonus. You deal more damage. Okay, more melee damage. I probably should go pick up our 3 last points in here. We want more void damage. We want basically every time you hit something that you get an echo, because our idols have echo damage on it. And then we're going to pick up these here for less. This is a great defensive node. This is Mortal Cleave, which is a great way to end things on low health. And then obviously the big one here for Echo Chance. So right now I've got a Echo Chance of 10, 16, and 10. So that gives me a bunch of echoes popping out. That's it there. Paladin, we want to get enough to get Symbols of Hope, which is a prime buff. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and pick up additional endurance. We pick up the 5-point bonus here for endurance threshold. And this right here gives us a little bit of stun avoidance and a little bit of this block as well. I could probably pull this and put it into something else because I'm not blocking very often. And a little less tanky, but not much. So there's your skills. And I'm working on right now my blessings. Let me show you what I've got. Alright, so we jump over here. Okay, going up the tree. Right now I'm in experience. Shred void resistance, obviously. I got some really crappy rolls here on ending the storm, so I've been running Lagana a lot. Stun chance I picked here. Great to stun lock down bosses and mini bosses. Bleed on hits horrible. I would like more void damage there. And endurance threshold for survivability. And armor for survivability. And that's my key, actually, non-drop blessings. So, you know, it's work in progress right now. I'm still working on my gear. The damage is sick. It's way better than playing Warpath. So if you're playing Warpath right now, my recommendation is man, if you get a couple good drops, and if you get a really good Clothos that you're using for your Warpath that's got critical strike chance on it, this is a great build. It's a lot better build than the Warpath. So that's it for today's video. Old Gaming Guru out.